Hebrew. My name is Deborah YaHSHuA by Yahweh. Today is day 14 days of counting Yah's Omer, Malkut Shabbat Gavarah, Yahweh's kingship within discipline. And it's been an interesting Shabbat for myself, very enduring, very intimate with who I am in this world for the Most High. Just off the top of my head, in the renewed covenant, when YaHSHuA told his taught ones to he needed time to himself, and he told his taught ones don't get tempted and so forth. Like stay alert, stay vigilant, even though they went to sleep and stuff like that. He needed some time to himself to seek Yah, what's going on in my life. So I feel like everybody goes through that time where we are very close in our calling, but it is very challenging and difficult and so forth. And we are confused, we're scared. The word says that YaHSHuA was sweating so much, it was big as blood, his sweat drops and so forth. So I had made a post earlier, a few hours before this live teaching. It was a picture of myself, and I wrote it in the mem. And there was an individual who shared some inspiring words with me, as to say, every moment in our life is a journey, and we should treat every aspect of it with, a sort of gratitude. And I told her that I am experiencing homelessness and so forth, and how she turned it around and made it so optimistic to say that's a time of freedom. So that is something that I am aware of, and I try to take very trust me, Yah has allowed me to think about that. Um so I took those words with a humble heart, because that is what Yah placed on that person's heart to speak to me. It's freedom time. And speaking of freedom time, if you've been keeping up with Yahweh's torahful Hebrew, counting the Yah's Omer, an exercise for the night. I'm already about to get to the exercise. Is listen to Lauryn Hill's album, Get Free. Get Free. That album was not in regards to love. Not necessarily. I mean, I'm not going to discredit her personal mundane life, but in actuality, a lot of the things she was speaking of, that live album that she did, I'm trying to, let me find the title of it. Hello everyone. Hi, OD Love Sports. Hello, Amy. Hello, Kazi. Hello, OD Love Sports. Hello, Salanova. My favorite band is anybody that's praising Yah, the Most High, through His Son YaHSHuA, and set apart spirit YHWH. So Lauryn Hill, her album is called MTV Unplugged NO.2.0. Hello, another Sports for Life. Okay. Jesse, I'm not sure why I want to make you cry, but I'm going. If you want to elaborate on that on my comments afterwards, then please do as such. I would like to stay on topic during Yahweh's Omer, and I choose to keep these videos on live for the sake of people fellowshipping with one another and trying to stay on topic. So, Lauryn Hill's MTV Unplugged was in regards to a lot of spiritual growth that she was going through, and emotional and characteristic traits. Just the elevation in her livelihood, and just the reality of life, that nobody's perfect. We're all going through the same thing, no matter how much more money we may have from one another and so forth. So definitely check that out. I'm going to read an article in regard to Malkut Shabe Gevurah. It is called Redefining the Past. So nothing can hold us back. Not our childhood, not the history of a lifetime, not even the very last moment before now. In a moment, you can abandon your past. And once abandoned, you can redefine it. If the past was a ring of futility, let it become a wheel of yearning that drives us forward. If the past was a brick wall, let it become a dam to unleash your power. The very first step of change is so powerful. The boundaries of time fall aside. In one bittersweet moment, the sting of the past is dissolved and its honey salvaged. This definitely spoke out to me today um, as I just expressed what an individual had wrote to me in words of encouragement on a recent community post that I did. I expressed to this individual that a lot of within my observation of Yahweh's torahfulhebrew Hebrew, unfortunately, lately it feels like I'm speaking to brick walls a lot, and people uh, people don't want to hear or be a part of somebody's not necessarily downfall, but someone's challenge. We don't want to be responsible to help, and that is something that I did call out on my post, because it's like, as Israelites, the greatest commandment is to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So yeah, this article definitely stuck to me, because what I was talking about with this individual, when I read it like an hour or so ago, I'm like, wow, like Yah really has a way of bringing stuff back to you. Like, the individual told me to just keep pressing forward, and then this article being read a few hours later, it says, if the past was a ring of futility, let it become a wheel of yearning that drives me forward. So I'm very blessed for discernment and so forth. I'm going to read an Omer insight. It is called Sephirah by Zavi Yair. It is called Sephirah, Revelation and Struggle. I'm going to see if I can turn something off. Okay, guess not. The article is as follows. The town was surrounded by a ring of tall, dark, wooded hills. Heavy, dank clouds hovered over the narrow valley, permitting not a single ray of sunlight to pass through. The townsfolk were born, they lived, and they died in the Vale of Tears, as the place was sometimes called. They had no notion that out there somewhere there were happy, sunlit places. But one spring day, a wondrous stranger wandered into the dark valley. Seeing their joyless life, he told them about his homeland, a place of sunlight, of fresh air, of joy and song. Hardly anyone believed that there really was such a place. One morning, just before daybreak, the stranger took them to the edge of the valley, and when the early morning breezes drove away the dark clouds, they saw far off in the distance, as if illuminated by a flash of lightning, a green-covered plateau on top of a distant mount, bathed in the light of the rising sun of Yah. That is the land to which I will take you, the wondrous man called out to the stunned people of the valley. The sight of the sun and its rays instilled hope in the people, and they eagerly followed their leader, as they were in darkness and gloom all this time. The journey from the dark and dank valley was long and treacherous. There were bleak wastelands, sandy deserts, steep hills to climb. There was yet no sign of the wondrous mount which was their destination. So far, does this sound familiar, like Pesach, Passover? Our people who were doubting. Does it sound like yourself? I know it does for me. Yah is trying to get me to the promised land, and I'm going through the treacherous, long journey of just bleakness and gloom, and I'm getting anxious. From time to time, their leader would refresh their memories, recalling that esteemed morning when they had seen the mount with their own eyes. On these occasions, they could see again the top of the mount bathed in sunlight, and the remembrance gave them the strength and faith to sustain them until that esteemed day when they would actually stand at the foot of the mount, the cosmic valley. This, say Torah scholars, is the story of our daily lives. The constant struggle, the exhausting climb up the ladder of perfection, developing the raw material of our being, approaching yet never quite achieving wholeness. It is a ladder whose base is fixed in the dark valley of a world where Yah hides his face, and whose uppermost rung stretches to the wellspring of light. And yet, there are those rare moments of revelation, moments in which the face of Yah smiles through the haze, and we glimpse the promised land that is the culmination of our journey. The story of our daily lives is the story of a journey made in darkness, the story of an ongoing struggle with the forces of nature within ourselves and outside of ourselves. But without those flashes from above, without those rays of light that drive away darkness, if only for the briefest of moments, we could not survive the torturous journey and reach our ultimate goal, the climb to Sinai. The prototype of this journey, the template of our sojourn in this world, is Sephirah HaOmer, the 49-day counting of the days from Passover to Shavuot, also known as Pentecost. For 210 years, our ancestors lived in darkness, enslaved by the Egyptians, the most debased society to ever dwell upon the face of the earth. The children of Israel inhabited a spiritual fog which shut off every vestige of manifest Yahwehs. They became of the world, as what YaHSHuA says. Be not of the world, be transformed in your mind, be renewed in your mind. Then one day a wondrous stranger appeared in their midst. He spoke to them of an age-old promise made by the Almighty One of their forefathers, that they would one day leave this sunless world. He spoke of a mountaintop upon which Yah would show himself to them, take them to him as his chosen people, and grant them his Torah, the revelation of his wisdom and will. He spoke of a land basking in the light of divine providence, in which they would fulfill their destiny as a light unto the nations. But it seemed little more than a fantasy. The darkness of their world seemed impregnable. They had no idea what this place in the sun was like, much less how to get there. They just liked what they saw. It seemed nice, seemed promising, hopeful, as stated. Then at the stroke of midnight on Passover Eve, a breach opened up in the clouds of their exile, and they beheld the face of their Creator. On that night, the set apart one, blessed be he, revealed his very self to them and redeemed them. Yah, of course, could have simply lifted them out of Egypt and brought them to Mount Sinai that very night. However, he wanted it to be their journey, their achievement. So after that momentary vision, the face of Yah receded. He wanted them to know the strength that he gives us. And during this week, this last day of Gevarah, one of the attributes of Gevarah is strength. And it means a lot to personally be so, not necessarily transparent, but raw on this page. I try to be as raw as possible. I try to give y'all the reality of me. Um, I I believe that unfortunately a lot of people within a lot of religions are eager to see this quote unquote perfect individual. There is no such thing as a perfect leader. There's no such thing as a perfect prophet. The prophet struggle. If you read the book of Jeremiah, he was getting embarrassed left and right. YaHSHuA was getting slapped around. Like, no one was perfect. So it's humbling to read this article. So the remainder of it states that then began the climb to Sinai. The Israelites were out of Egypt, but Egypt was still deeply embedded within the Israelites. For 7 weeks, they struggled to refine the 7 traits of their souls. This is what Omer is. To cleanse them of the profanity of Egypt and make themselves worthy candidates for the divine choice. It's nothing new under the sun. We may not live physically in Egypt, but this account is to say we need to bring the ways that are not of Yah out of us, whether that's Egypt, Babylon, whatever. I was looking at a individual's page that followed me on Instagram on Yahwehs underscore trendsetter. I don't know, maybe I don't know if she's a Christian or Messianic Jew, but this person posted a lot about Christianity and like how much terrorism that's going on in different parts of the world with Christianity. My heart goes out to people who are just killing and they don't have the understanding of Yah's word. Okay, the renewed covenant, YaHShuA would not necessarily abide by the wars that are going on. He would rather say, look, vengeance, he literally said in his word in the renewed covenant, vengeance is Yah's. Let vengeance be his. Just show our fruits, show his fruits unto others, that they may see the Mashiach, the light within us, the anointed one within us, YaHShuA the HaMashiach, YaHShuA the anointed one. So this was something that the Israelites had to achieve on their own. In the darkness of their deficiencies and the coldness of their alienation. But it was that initial vision of the divine light that inspired, encouraged, and drove them in their journey. So endure. I know it's very easier said than done, but if you have been tuning in my community post like a few hours ago, I'm human, and um my statement that I'm saying now might change later, but just based off scriptures, I had the right to have a righteous indignation of the support that I have lacked to have with the Israelite community. So the annual count, because again, the greatest commandment is to love. And sometimes it's more than just throwing scriptures out there. Sometimes we physically need help. It's not necessarily just throwing the scripture out there or just necessarily saying, I'm going to pray for you. Somebody might really need your help. And it's not, you can pray for someone with genuine intention, but they also may need your help at that moment. So keep that in mind. Do unto others as you would want done to yourself. So the annual count. Each year on the first night of Passover or Pesach, we commemorate the events of the nights of the Exodus. Through the Seder observances, we re-experience the liberating vision which drives our annual emergence from our personal Egypt and our eternal liberation from slavery to freedom, from darkness to a great light. The revelation of the Exodus is but a brief, momentary flash. On the following day, we begin our 49-day trek to Sinai. Today is 14 days, 2 weeks. Reenacted each year with the counting of Yah's Omer. Beginning with the second night of Passover, we count, or unleavened bread, we count the days traversed from the Exodus, chronicling the milestones and stations of our journey of self-refinement. This is what Omer is about, self-refinement. Perfecting ourselves before we go on the foot of Mount Sinai and tell Yah we do. That's exactly what the children of Israel did. When Yah parted those Red Seas, best believe they got immersed in that water. And during that journey, they were getting refined emotionally, spiritually, learning so much, getting the Egypt out of them, the Babylon out of them. The 50th day is the festival of Shavuot, also known as Pentecost, our annual re-experience of the giving of the Torah. When we once again stand at Sinai to receive Yah's communication of his wisdom and will, and to be chosen as his very own kingdom of priests and set-apart nation. We can find stuff like this in the renewed covenant. We are a royal priesthood. I'm thinking about this song with Mali Music, Malai, M-A-L-I Music. Royalty, that is a beautiful song. For Yahweh's image is not a skin color. His image is his characteristic traits, his tree of life, his sephirot. He doesn't necessarily have hands and feet, but he does like to relate to us so we can try to understand what he's saying to us in our human intellect and so forth. So again, today is day 14, Malkut of Geburah. Nobility of discipline. No big reason why I made the title what it is. Discipline, like love, must enhance personal dignity. So I'm going to read the meditation from week 1, day 7. Week 1, day 7 was Malkut of Chesed. Chesed is loving kindness, benevolence. It is the most powerful and necessary component in life. Love is the origin and foundation of all human interactions. It is both giving and receiving. It allows us to reach above and beyond ourselves, to experience another person, and to allow that person to experience us. It is the tool by which we learn to experience the highest reality, Yah. So week 1, day 7, which was last week because we're on day 14 now, this says mature love comes with and brings a personal dignity, an intimate feeling of nobility and regalness. It allows us to know our special place and contribution in this world. Any love that is demoralizing and breaks the human spirit is no love at all. For love to be complete, it must have the dimension of personal sovereignty, a sense of freedom and dominion over the forces that detract from total loving. So let's fast forward to today, day 14. Discipline that demoralizes a person will backfire. Are you being the Pharisee, Sadducee with your discipline? That is a very big problem within the community, and that is something that Yahweh has called me out on at one point in my journey of teaching on Yahweh's torahfulhebrew Hebrew, which causes me to cease being so sharp with my tongue, to think before I speak, not to necessarily entertain any other person, but just speak from the Spirit. Righteous indignation doesn't mean you are a pushover, but there is a thing of love and being mindful of who we are rebuking, because we all should treat people how we want to be treated, with dignity and respect. Okay? So discipline that demoralizes a person will backfire. Are you acting like a Pharisee and Sadducee and telling YaHSHuA that, your taught ones, they shouldn't be plucking grain on Sabbath? Like, YaHSHuA had to put them in that place. Even King David, your forefather, had to, when he was out in the woods running from his life from King Saul, when he was having bipolar issues, he was hungry. And at the time, the law was to not eat off the priestly table. But Yah had favor and said, like, you know what, in reality, you're hungry. It's not like you're just trying to be greedy or something like that, because it is something in the word that Yahweh discusses. If you are hungry, and back in the day, like in the farms and so forth, he would say, like, if you're poor or whatever, something like that, and you are in like you in a dwelling place of like a farm, don't carry more, don't carry anything. Eat what's in that farm, but don't be carrying no bag or trying to take more than what you can. And that's being greedy. Just accept what is in front of you at the moment. So that is what YaHShuA, in a sense, was saying to the Pharisees and Sadducees. Is your discipline as the Pharisees and Sadducees, or is your discipline as YaHShuA? And peace to you, Shalom, Marvin Nixon. Thank you so much. I will definitely take that. I need as much peace as I can. So healthy discipline should bolster our self-esteem and help elicit the best in a person. Cultivating his sovereignty. Another thing that I want to mention is that, like, just it's very draining, like on different social media platforms with different Israelites in particular. I can't speak on different religions. I'm not gonna say I can't, but just it's annoying to like the rebukes and discipline and the entitlement, the I don't want to say excuses, but people who try to use certain scriptures to have such discipline where it's very harsh and cold with no love, and that's not of YaHShuA. Like, YaHShuA didn't discipline out of coldness; he disciplined with love, and he tried to say it in a way for people to understand where he was coming from. He didn't want to embarrass. That's a mitzvah. That's a teaching. Don't embarrass others. But for some reason, a lot of Israelites still have that spirit of Pharisees and Sadducees who nail YaHShuA on the cross, who nail YaHShuA on the tree of Golgotha. It's in coldness. So this expression of discipline does not compromise the discipline. On the contrary, it fosters and enhances it. So I've had my own exercise for the next 24 hours, but I'll read what's in front of me. So one of two questions is, does my discipline cripple the human spirit? Are you mean-spirited with your discipline? Are you showing someone dignity? Do you give this person dignity? If you see a homeless person, they say they need something to eat. They can look both sober and sane, and you probably tell them to go get a job. Are you demeaning them? Are you demoralizing them? Are you just overly righteous and assuming things? Does your discipline cripple the human spirit? Love is the greatest commandment. So does it weaken or strengthen me and others? Does your discipline weaken or strengthen yourself and others? Does it strengthen in love? Does it strengthen in coldness? What does it? Because some people are taught to not cry. Crying is for women, or it's a weakness. How is your discipline portrayed to others? So another exercise you can do for the day is, when disciplining your child or student, foster their self-respect, foster their dignity, their integrity. Okay? So, again, just me personally, I would say meditate on Lauryn Hill's album MTV Unplugged 2.0, because it's a lot of dignity involved, a lot of self-refinement and so forth. And I will speak the prayer of blessing, and we will conclude this live teaching. For the sake of the unification of the set apart one, blessed is he, and the Shekinah, his set apart spirit, in awe and compassion, to unify the name YHWH in perfect unity in the name of all Israel. Behold, I am prepared and ready to perform the mitzvah of counting Yahweh's Omer, as is written in the Torah, Leviticus 23. You are to count from the end of the rest day, from the day you brought the waved Omer offering. The counting shall be 7 complete weeks. You shall count until the day after the 7th week, namely the 50th day, on which you shall bring a new meal offering to Yah. And may the pleasantness of Yah be upon us, in the work of our hands establish for us. In the work of our hands establish it. Blessed are you, Father Yahweh, our Almighty One, King of the universe. You have set us apart with your commandments. You have commanded us concerning the counting of your Omer. In Hebrew, Baruch atah Yahweh Yaoheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kiddushanu B'Mitzvotav V'Tzivanu Al Safirat HaOmer. Today is 14 days, which is 2 weeks of the Omer. May the merciful one restore unto us the service of the Bet Hamikdash to its place speedily in our days. Amen. Selah. For the choir master, a song with instrumental music, a song. May Yahweh be favorable to us and bless us. May he make his countenance shine upon us forever, that your way be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. The nations will extol you, O Yah. All the nations will extol you. The nations will rejoice and sing for joy, for you will judge the peoples justly and guide the nations on earth forever. The peoples will extol you, O Yah. All the peoples will extol you, for the earth will have yielded its produce, and Yah, our Almighty One, will bless us. Yah will bless us, and all from the farthest corners of the earth shall fear him. We implore you by the great power of your right hand, YaHSHuA, please release the captive. Accept the prayer of your people. Strengthen us, purify us, awesome one. Mighty one, we beseech you. Guard as the apple of the eye those who seek your oneness. Bless them, please cleanse them, and bestow upon them forever your merciful righteousness. Powerful, set apart one, and your abounding goodness, guide your congregation. Only an exalted one, turn to your people who are mindful of your set apartness. Accept our supplication and hear our cry, you who knows secret thoughts. Blessed be the name of the esteem of your kingdom forever and ever. Master of the universe, you have commanded us through Moshe, your servant, to count Sephirah HaOmer, in order to purify us from our evil and uncleanness. As you have written in your Torah, you shall count for yourselves from the day following the day of rest, from the day on which you bring the Omer as a wave offering. The counting shall be for 7 full weeks. Until the day following the 7th week shall you count 50 days, so that the souls of your people, Israel, may be cleansed from their defilements. Therefore may be a will, O Yah, the almighty ones of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, that in the merit of the Sephirah HaOmer, which I have counted today, the blemish that I had caused in the Sephirah, Melchut Shadei Yevarah, be rectified, and that I may be purified, and set apart with supernal holiness. May abundant bounty thereby be bestowed upon all the worlds. May it rectify our nefesh, ruach, and neshama from every baseness and defect, and may it purify and set us apart with your supernal holiness. Amen and Selah. Yahweh willing, I'll be on for day 15 days of Yah's Omer. Shalom.